not so much about the obstacles that you may have to face to receive the blessings that God have you than it is about Satan blocking you from your assignment. Think about that for a minute. If you look back as far as Genesis chapter 15, I'm not going to read it, but I'll let you read it. Genesis chapter 15, verses 18 through 21, and you compare that to Exodus chapter 3, verse 7 and 8, you will find out that Joshua and the children of Israel were actually in the land of Canaan on assignment. And this wall that they run across, this wall that we call Jericho, this wall actually was an obstacle to their assignment. You could even go as far as to think about this for a second. Let's go this far. Who built the wall? The wall was built by the very people that God had told to go and to exterminate and to drive out of the land. The wall was built by enemies of God's people. Now, I know from their perspective, it was a wall to protect them. But we look at the biblical narrative. We look at the assignment given to Joshua and the children of Israel. It is easy to see from their perspective and from a biblical perspective that this wall was an obstacle to their assignment. Now, I wanted to suggest that to you because what I want to talk about just for a minute, some things you might need to do to be able to complete your assignment. I'm going to give you 3 things I want you to do. Those of us that are on assignment, the first thing I need you to do, if you're going to be able to overcome and complete your assignment, you need to be patient. Because the narrative teaches us that a lot of times overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges, even difficult people and difficult situations, it doesn't happen instantaneously. There's some patience and some waiting has to be involved. If you read the story of Joshua in Jericho, the walls of Jericho, you will find that God gave them an assignment and they were to march around this wall 1 time a day, silently. And they were to do this for 7 days and then shout on the 7th day. So the first thing I would tell you to do in dealing with completing your assignment, you're going to have to exercise some patience. Here's another thing. If I'm going to complete my assignment, I'm going to have to be able to follow God, no matter how difficult the journey becomes or how impossible the assignment may seem. I mean, you think about this wall. These individuals are following God. They on an assignment from God. They're obeying God. This is the whole reason that they're in the land. And yet, with that being said, they run across something that seems to be impossible, something that was insurmountable. Here's a wall that sits right here in front of them that they cannot penetrate or I guess, tunnel under or go over. An impossible situation, seemingly. But let me say this to you. What seems impossible to us is an opportunity for God. And we have to learn, even in hard situations that seem impossible. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm a pastor. People can seem impossible. Circumstances. I know there are some ministries that's like my ministry that I've had in the past, maybe even presently, financial difficulties. And some of the financial difficulties and some of the things that you may need for your home, for your ministry, it may seem impossible. But listen, as I said, what seemed impossible to you and what seems impossible to me is possible with God. So we have to learn that if we're going to finish our assignment, then we need to follow God and obey God's plan and trust God, even when the journey, even when the assignment seems impossible. When I look at the story of Joshua, it also tells me that I'm going to need God. I put it this way. If you're going to complete a divine assignment, you're going to need divine help. And look, anything that God assigns you to do, you're going to need divine help. That means that you're going to need to be talking to God, but not just talking to God. You're going to need to be listening to God. If you read the story, you'll find that God spoke to Joshua, and the Lord gave Joshua some instructions, which brings me to the next point. If you're going to complete your assignment, no matter how odd the instructions from the Lord may be, you need to follow those to the letter.